first, and he came because he has been sponsoring a couple of children for quite a while. And I said, well, would you share your experience? And so he's going to do that.
Yeah, a few years ago, my wife and I started probably 6, 7 years ago. We decided that, well, let me start over. We had tried sponsoring a non-Adventist young people thing. I can't remember the name, World Vision. And then we got to thinking, we ought to be we ought to be supporting our Adventist outreach for these kids. And so Jim Rennie was a member of our church, and he was the CEO of the parent organization of Child Impact, which was Asia Aid or something. I don't know, something, Asia something. And so we started sponsoring. I was in education for a number of years, and so we started, she sponsored a girl, I sponsored a boy to go to Adventist schools in India. And well, when they either dropped out of the program, they automatically sent us another one and asked us if we would like to, told us that this one opted out. Would we like to support another one? And they'd give us a suggestion. And so that's what we did. And it's been a blessing in that they send you grades from the kids, their progress, and this type of thing, pictures of the kids. Right now I have 2 pictures. My wife passed away, but I decided that I was going to continue to sponsor 2 kids. So I have pictures on my refrigerator, not of my grandkids or my great-grandkids, but my sponsored kids. And I don't even remember where they're from right now. But it's interesting to be in contact, and you can contact them through Child Impact. You can get on the, I don't know how to do it yet, but I've been inspired to get onto the internet somehow and be able to make more impact, more connection with my kids, and send them, I don't know if they want a picture of this old man, but send them a picture, send them Christmas gifts, whatever. The more you have contact with them, the more involved you will become.
Thank you, Dan. We really appreciate your support. This morning we handed this out. Yes, sir.
Why would children drop out of the program you mentioned?
Well, they don't really tell you. They don't really tell you. Some of them graduate, but some of them, whether they voluntarily leave the program or whether they got kicked out, I don't know. But they just say they are no longer with the program. And
to try to answer that question somewhat, they shared that like girls that they've gotten to come to their school and to keep them from having to prostitute themselves or whatnot, or marry somebody at a young age where their parents, have arranged that. They'll go to school, and then they'll go home sometimes for a break or something, and some of them then are influenced not to go back. So that sometimes, Yes.
I think they're family oriented, most of them.
So, there are, I'm sure, all kinds of different situations where they wouldn't go back, but that might be one reason anyway.
Thank you. A couple questions came up uh, that I didn't anticipate or didn't make clear. Child Impact International is Seventh-day Adventists. Every employee with them is a Seventh-day Adventist. It is not sponsored by the Seventh-day Adventist Church in that the Adventist Church gives no money to it, but they are members of ASI, which are supporting businesses to help the church, and they're recognized in the Georgia Cumberland Conference. They're highly regarded. We have a pretty strict policy in this conference of who gets to be in the pulpit, and they've kind of given a blanket right to anybody from Child Impact can be in one of our churches' pulpits. So that's important to know. Also, the process, I didn't make this clear. When you take your card and you fill it out, if you give it to me, I take that information back to Child Impact. And within 24 hours of me giving it to them, you receive information from them. And then they begin to dialogue with you about how you want your contribution to be used and where and things like that. With this brochure that I'm giving you this afternoon, you'll discover we're in a lot of different countries with a lot of different programs. Thank you, Dan. If somebody doesn't have one, so this is my very first speaking appointment for them. So they told me I would make mistakes. And so here we go. Also, could we go to the next slide, Chad? Yoo-hoo! Yoo-hoo! Can we go to the next slide?
I love you,
Hey, Chad.
Lord.
Let's stay right here. Let's stay right here. This is the history of the organization. It was Asia Aid, established in 1966, primarily to have children overseas brought into Seventh-day Adventist schools. That was missionary work. And since 2014, they began an emphasis on fighting human trafficking. And so then that opened up all kinds of different things. But when these children are saved out of situations, they're brought to Adventist-run schools. It is Seventh-day Adventist curriculum that they are taught. So it is still very evangelistic. That's what I meant when I said saved to be saved. So they're brought out of these horrendous situations so they can hear the gospel. Also, you see all the way to your left where it says Charity Navigator 4-star. That's the highest rating you can have for a nonprofit organization. That means 13% or less of their total income goes for administrative expenses. It's all, it's very pure. It's headed out there. Then they have another platinum transparency. I can't remember exactly what that is, but that's a highest rating. Nonprofits, top rated. Actually, I didn't know this, but the Better Business Bureau, it's harder to get a good grade from them than any of these other things, and they have the top top thing from there. So they're an accredited charity. I don't know what the cross is across the flag. Kind of. Oh, it's not. Oh, it's an NGO. Yeah, that's what it means. Thank you. Glad you guys are here. We'll fumble through this together. All right. Chad, let's see. All right. What's wrong with this picture? Okay. She's not paying attention, but he is. What do you think is going to happen here? Yeah. Do you know that the average person believes this is how children are kidnapped and taken into human trafficking? This is actually wrong. It doesn't happen this way. If this was the average young person, they would not be grabbed. They would be going to meet somebody. See, what happens is they get online, and whether they're playing a game or something, someone will befriend them. And these people are highly skilled manipulators. Oh, how are you? Yeah. Oh, I'm in the 6th grade or the 7th grade or whatever. Oh, I am too. You know, and before long, a relationship develops, and then, hey, why don't we meet? We could hang out together. We'll meet at the mall or something. So most of the time, the young people are voluntarily going to the places where they're taken into human trafficking. All right, let's look at the next slide. Who is the most vulnerable to trafficking in North America? Okay, who do you think? There's your answer. Didn't have to think too long. Social media users. That's where it's happening in the United States. Okay. In the United States, what demographic consumes the most social media daily? What do you say? All right. 15-year-old girls, is that what somebody said? I'm hoping, like everything, the next slide has the answer, because I can't remember. There it is. It's actually 17-year-old girls. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I thought it was something like that. Okay, U.S. average adolescent screen time by subgroup. So you see all teenagers average 4.8 hours per day on the line, with the screen. And then if you go down to the bottom, the boys, 4.4 hours, and the girls, 5.3. Okay, let's go. At night, we lock our doors and arm our security system, thinking our children are safe at home. The internet bypasses our efforts to protect our children, leaving them vulnerable to predators. Next. Online predators mainly target girls in which age group? 14, 17, 11, 13. Who give me a dollar? Let's go. Oh, here we go. Ages 11 to 13, followed by 7 to 10. Yeah. What popular online game has been banned by 10 countries because it is a hunting ground for child predators? In the U.S., 5 states have sued to close it down. Okay, next one. Roblox. I don't know anything about it other than what I've been told, and that is it is extremely popular. It's the most popular game internationally, and kids get on it, and they're just having fun, and cartoon-like characters and stuff like that, but it's here where these manipulators get a hold of the children, and the process begins. Okay, next slide. 5 states have sued Roblox, with 3 others pending. Kentucky alleged that the game is a playground for predators. Tennessee joined the lawsuit, citing risky conditions for kids. 10 countries have entirely banned Roblox, with Turkey leading the way in 2024. Okay, Roblox and Discord. It's promoted as safe for children. Adults can contact minors through direct messages while pretending to be children. They then request explicit images or attempt to meet in person. Roblox is the most popular game in the world, played by 56 to 59% of kids globally. In the USA, an estimated 40% of users are under the age of 13. If you have children and they have phones, Tom Evans, the leader of Child Impact, adopted 2 girls just recently. They've adopted 4 children in their lives, and the oldest one was 17. And so she was from another country and came from a situation where she needed to be adopted. And so he had to go through the process of teaching her about online things that are going on. Why would you say that? What do you think this person thinks, and all that kind of stuff? And he said it was a major, major struggle to get her to stop. And eventually, the rule of their household was no phone in the bedroom, and everything's off by 8 o'clock or something like that, because you lock your house, but they're coming in. Okay, what percentage of minors are solicited by strangers online for sexually explicit content? What do you say? 36% of minors reported being asked to share sexual imagery of themselves by someone they met online. This is called sexting. And the way that it works is that this manipulation happens. This is a true story. There was a young man, I think he was 16, and he was manipulated online, and a beautiful woman was the supposed presenter. It was 2 men from the Philippines somewhere. But this kid is totally flattered that this woman wants to pay attention to him. And when the time was right, some explicit picture of a female anatomy part came to him. Why don't you show me your privates? So he took a picture, sent it, and the next thing he knew, he was being blackmailed by these 2 men who said, if you don't send us money, this is going out to all your friends, going out to all the world, so forth and so on. Now, at that time, what he could have done was contact his parents and say, I've really messed up. And they would have said, well, don't send a dime. We'll just have to roll with this, or whatever they could do with the police. But instead, he committed suicide in order to avoid the shame. So 36% of minors are being asked to share sexual imagery. Now, the psychology of this really throws me, because as a pastor down in Collegedale, I heard about several students at Collegedale Academy that got in trouble for doing this. And I said to our youth pastor, why in the world would somebody send a picture of themselves online? And he said, it is amazing the power, the influence that this has on these kids. They live their whole life online, and they think this is part of courting and part of developing an intimate relationship. And so it's there. Let's go to the next, Chad. Okay, a guy and girl dating sextortion. Here we go. A guy and a girl share explicit photos with each other. What happens when they break up? Or if one wants the relationship to go further than the other, or the photos are shared with friends, or the photos get leaked on the internet. Now, if you have a son, a daughter, granddaughter, grandson, and you hear of this, let's say that I'm a bad person and I have a girlfriend. I convince her to send me some type of picture of herself, okay? Now I'm 17, she's 16, and what do most 17 and 16-year-olds do in their relationships? They break up. All right. So, I have a friend. He's 17. I send him that picture. Now, what has just happened legally? Even if I had her consent, that's child pornography. This guy's in trouble for receiving it. I'm in trouble for sending it, and she's in trouble for taking it. Our kids don't know that. I mean, they could be looking at court fines. They could be looking at a record. Now, try to find a job as a sexual predator. That puts you on the child sexual predator list. Try to find a good job now. This is how wicked the devil is. Okay, let's go to the next one. Ryan Lake, this is the boy, from San Jose, California, straight A student, member of FFA, victim of global sextortion. The FBI's Internet Crime Complaint Center reported over 54,000 sextortion victims in 2024. Next. Deep fake, digitally altered images that use an individual's likeness mapped on a photo or video of someone else. 98% are pornographic and without the victim's consent. So they would take that young lady's head and they would put a body on it that would be naked. It's called deep fake. Okay, next. A deep fake tool that removes clothing from photos. Usually non-consensual, illegal if a minor is depicted, can be used for cyberbullying, significant psychological trauma, circulated online permanently, attracts predators. Now, the reason that this is being shown to you is that Child Impact is now making efforts to help in the United States. They've been overseas, a lot of third world places, but they're going to start a ministry in Houston and they're going to start a ministry in Atlanta to recover children who have been stolen and have been sex trafficked. And they're developing this program to go to all the schools they can get into to warn the children about this type of stuff. Let's go to the next one, Chad. Thank you. 75% of Christian men and 40% of Christian women reported consuming porn on some level. This is the Barna Beyond the Porn Phenomena 2024. You can help end sex trafficking by simply refusing to participate in the production, distribution, or consumption of pornography. Next one. OnlyFans. The allure of this pornography website is the simulation of a personalized dating experience between the creator, model, and the client. Are you familiar with OnlyFans? Yeah, I'm very. What would you say it is?
It's basically selling yourself online.
Selling yourself on
Whether it is because persons out there will buy anything.
by your image.
So if it's your feet, if it's your hand, if it's you doing things and you get paid. So a lot of persons, a lot of young persons, they will quit a 9 to 5 job and take this up because this makes money because you charge based on your. So if I want to charge, say, $200 for a feet photo, there's some random creep out there that will pay $200 for a feet.
Gotcha.
So that's what people do on this. Or they'll do other activities and stuff. Or you will say, or you'll text me and say, hey, can you do this next time? And I'll say, yes, I'll charge you this amount. And I do it online and you send the money.
Okay. 1.1 million creators in the United States alone. Next closest is United Kingdom, 280,000. We're done with that one. Okay. What is the title of someone hired to impersonate an OnlyFans model and engage with their subscribers? See, this is what a lot of people don't know. I think by joining OnlyFans, I'm going to get money. It's only 1% of the people that do that get any money. 99% are like the mafia. They're getting the money. And the correspondence will be done by people who are called imposters, I think. What's the next slide? Chatters. Chatters, yeah. Okay, next slide. Thank you. Chatters are hired to represent OnlyFans creators. So if I think I'm creating this stuff and I'm going to get paid for it, it bypasses me, someone else gets the money, and there's a chatter person that is contacting other people claiming to be me. Chatters don't just respond to messages, they actively drive sales. Trained in fan psychology and persuasive writing, they know when and how to make offers, time discounts, or introduce new content drops, By maintaining daily conversations with fans, chatters keep them emotionally invested and more likely to spend. Which city in the United States has more brothels than Starbucks? Who said Houston? You read the book. I thought you were there. You are absolutely right. Let's go to the next slide. Houston has the highest rate of human trafficking in the USA. The Children's Assessment Center further notes that there are more brothels in Houston than Starbucks, and children are being traded for money every day. That's why CII is starting a ministry in Houston. The second highest, or one of the top 5, is Atlanta. They're starting a place there too to rescue these children. 14 people charged in Collegedale human trafficking sting. Here's your Adventist ghetto. Police say 8 of the 11 arrests involve suspects attempting to engage in sexual activity with children. So it's close to home. Next. Okay, here's your booklet to get a free download. You already have the booklet. Okay. Is that right? Okay. I didn't know that. By the way, she sponsors, is it 2 children or how? I think so, yeah. Okay. 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 She's, through marriage, is related to Tom Evans. That's right. Okay, human trafficking victims in North America, only 2%. Globally, is the other 98%. That's why the initial work of fighting human trafficking was, their philosophy was, we're going to the worst places and see what we can do. Okay, let's go to the next one. Revelation 18:11 through 13, merchants of the earth trade various goods, including human beings sold as slaves. Yeah, I don't know if you've read Revelation 18 lately, but it's very clear that slavery is part of the economics of the beast. All right, let's go to the next one. Major types of human trafficking. There's the sex trafficking, forced sexual exploitation through prostitution, pornography, child sexual exploitation, forced sexual performances, labor trafficking. That would be coerced labor, domestic work, farm labor, factory work, forced begging, and that happens in the third world a lot. Forced marriage and child exploitation. Children being sold as brides. Marrying against will, often minors, includes child soldiers, organ trafficking, and other exploitation. These children are extremely vulnerable. And this was sunset. Okay, here we go.
I have been in law enforcement for 12 years. And what I've learned over 12 years is that safety is key. I'm constantly thinking about not only my safety, but a perk of the job is the safety of others. And safety, especially of vulnerable communities, which include young girls and women. And unlike being in the US, safety here in Zambia is not really all that emphasized. It's upsetting, it's angering, it's heartbreaking.
Hi everyone, I'm going to share with you my story from bad to good. When I was staying with my aunt and uncle, my uncle used to sexually abuse me every night, and sometimes he used to come to my bedroom and would slap me, force me to sleep with him. He used to threaten me, if I tell anyone, he's going to kill my brothers and me, and no one is going to know.
I am a protector. That's my job. My job. I'm also a parent. And somebody has to stand in the gap to protect them. And that's sponsors, that's the staff here at Riverside, and just a little bit that I could do to contribute with some of my knowledge base and experience. I wanted to make sure to share that with them, and I hope that they understood that I'm passionate about them and that I care about them and their well-being.
My neighbor told me about this school, Riverside Secondary School. Yes, she told me about Child Impact, how they help people and they change lives of people.
And here at Riverside, this is a fantastic school, and they have very high expectations for the kids. It's known throughout the country as one of the top schools. For some of these kids, the most vulnerable, they can't pass the test to get into Riverside. And so we were like, how do we get these kids into a safe place on campus? And Melissa said, what about a program where we could tutor the girls and also give them a life skill?
So the girls that are in the tailoring program, oftentimes it's because their academics weren't enough for them to qualify to attend secondary school. And so without that secondary training and without any kind of vocation, their options were very limited of what they can do with their lives. And so some of these girls, a lot of them, have grown up with very poor families, and so there's a lot of pressure on them to do something to earn money for their families. Some of them are selling tomatoes or potatoes or corn in the market. Others are selling themselves in the market. And so we knew that we had to do something to end that. Rescue at Riverside means we are going to bring you to a safe place. Forget about the chaos of your life before. We're going to bring you to safety here. You can always feel safe here. So we're sometimes rescuing girls who have already experienced trauma and abuse, And we're also rescuing girls from that trauma and abuse. If they meet the same vulnerability criteria, we can predict what their life would be like without this intervention. And let's try to grab those girls and say, would you like a chance to have an education? Would you like to have a chance at learning tailoring? Then come, we have a spot for you. And we heard from the kids several times. They said, I cannot believe you picked me. Like, they're so proud of themselves, and we're so proud of them too. They have overcome so much just to be here. When I was sitting in geometry class, I wasn't thinking about somebody might hurt me when I go home. That's what these girls have to face, is that this is really a lifeline for them. Being in this program, it's a lifeline for them. Attending Riverside is saving their life.
Okay. Are there any more slides, Chad? Okay. Entire families enslaved. We've mentioned this. At least 2 million children are working in slave-like conditions, according to the Human Rights Commission of Pakistan.
In the brick kilns, I met a man by the name of Imran, a hard worker. His father had been born as a slave in the brick kilns. Imran, as a young boy, longed for freedom, and one day he ran away. He escaped and built a life for himself. He became a truck driver and was doing well, but then word came that his father had passed away. So he went back to the brick kiln for his funeral. It was really a trap because the brick kiln owner recognized that the deceased slave had a son. So he forced Imran to take on his deceased father's debt. This debt does not die with an individual. It passes on to their children. And so there are so many of these families that are in generational debt. In fact, I talked with one family, they don't even know how many generations have been slaves. For 10 years, Imran has been working in the brick kilns, hoping again for freedom, but without any chance of that possibly happening. He has a beautiful little daughter now. She's 4 years old, and he has a 1-year-old son. But one day as his daughter was playing, she fell into a pot of boiling water. She has severe burns on her arm that still hurt today. And yet, despite these challenging circumstances, she's one of the most cheerful girls that we've ever met. Imran longs for freedom. The story of Imran is just one of many that we've encountered. Each one is heartbreaking in its own way, whether it be physical challenges or generational debt, seeing somebody elderly that can barely creep along the ground making bricks, or seeing a little girl at age 4 already learning how to make bricks. This is their life sentence. This is a reality that many of these families can face in Pakistan, because there's absolutely no way that they can get out from underneath this debt unless someone from the outside is able to pay that for them. Because of the Free a Family project through Child Impact, Imran has an opportunity to once again be free. Today, there are more slaves than at any time in Earth's history. The question I have to reflect on is, what am I doing to make a difference in modern day slavery? What are you doing to make a difference? Here in Pakistan, we have witnessed slavery firsthand, but there's a difference. We've been given full access to go into these brick kilns and free these families from slavery. As long as the debt is paid, these individuals, these families, these children, they can go free. So the question is, what am I doing about this opportunity in front of us today to make a difference for those who are in bondage? I am here with Farzan Masi and his beautiful family with 5 children. ages 15 to 5, and his lovely wife. His family for generations have worked in the brick kilns. He doesn't even know how many generations that's been. We're excited today, Farzan, because your debt has been paid. This paper represents that debt, and we want to rip it up. Congratulations. That is awesome.
That's pretty amazing, isn't it? And so if you are interested in sponsoring a family, when you fill out that card, Child Impact will get back with you. And Mark, what some churches have done is they've collectively pooled their resources to free several families. Yeah. That's a great question. I'm not sure, but sometimes as much as $5,000. I'm not sure. What our church did down at Collegedale Community, and one of the reasons I'm representing Child Impact now is because I saw what it does for a church congregation. We have several Sabbath school classes that raise money themselves to contribute. And it's really brought a unity to those classes and given them a purpose bigger than themselves. But in the Philippines, they needed a dormitory at one of their schools because, as Karen was telling the story, these little girls, 13 years old, 12 years old, come to the school and they love it. But when they would go home on break, they would be sold as a wife. And the only way that they could get out of that is Child Impact would have to buy them back. But they didn't have any place to stay. So it did no good to buy them back because there was nothing for them. So construction cost overseas is less than it is here in the United States. For $200,000, a whole dormitory was built for these kids. Our church paid for that. We raised it over 2 years. And the way that we did it is we refused large donations, only small donations. And what we really wanted is for a family to sit down together and say, what could we do as a family to contribute towards this on a regular basis? So that one family I know, when they sat down with their kids and said, what can we do to come up with the money? The children jumped up, brought the toys they no longer use. Those toys were sold online, and that family came up with $200 just from the children. Now, the children are in on that program, and all of a sudden, you have a family that's mission-minded. It's bigger than themselves, and the children are looking for other ways to come up with a way to free these women from the situations they're in. So a church can do that. They have projects like that, or of course individual families, and there may be somebody that's well endowed and can do something on their own. It's all God's work. It really is. Yes, ma'am.
So after the debt is paid, then what happens with the family? I mean, can they find a job or what happens?
Yeah, my understanding is they're free to go, and they'll go out, they'll find work, and they'll build a life. But it'll be a life of freedom. It'll be their life. Yeah. 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 My guess is because of the Adventist church over there, CII will free the families, but this morning we saw a whole church filled with these slaves. That's an Adventist church that they're at. They're going to get help. Yeah. But our churches in Pakistan don't have the money to free them, but they have the heart. Yeah, yeah. And isn't that an amazing picture of a New Testament church if that's what was happening? Let's go to the next slide. Okay, we saw that. At what age is marriage acceptable? Now, how many of you say you don't want your daughter to get married at 18, but it's still acceptable? It's legal. You can't stop it. 16? Some can, some can't, some cultures. 14? No? How old was Mary? Huh? You see, it's different in cultures. But I think all of us would agree 8, 10, 12. You talk about ruining a childhood, huh? Well, let's see what the next slide is. Why is child marriage considered human trafficking? A, it goes against the wishes of the girl. B, something is traded for her. C, because she is underage. Or D, all of the above. Yeah, yeah. It would just be awful. This is, they're flying in a helicopter to the school in the Philippines. It's the only way they can access it. And that's our fearless leader there. Okay, let's go to the next slide. I'm 13 years old. When I grew up, this is exactly the way she wrote this to Tom. I'm 13 years old. When I grew up, I want to become a nurse. I hope you back here for sponsoring us. So, yes, we will sponsor you, he wrote back. Now let's see what happens here. They found out she was married. Yes, I am married already, but I'm not happy that life. I'm so younger, and I'm so sad. Very much, sir. I'm not sure what that means. My husband told me I need to stop my study. At night I'm crying so pain, so hard. I want to finish my study. That's her baby. Okay? Yep. But they call him Baby James. And that, I believe, is a school teacher that adopted the baby. And somehow they were able, I believe, to get that girl away from the husband, some type of money or something. And she, I believe, was adopted by the teacher as well. Let's go to the next slide. That's him, being a dude.
The kids here went on break, and 9 of the students didn't come back for classes. And the teachers went out trying to find each of these 9 kids and find out what happened to them. Why didn't they come back to my class? And all 9 of them were married off as children. And they were only able to recover one of those children, Rylan, because she stood up for herself. And she said, I want to go back to school and I want to get an education and study.
When I was still in the mountains, they forced me to marry even though I didn't want to. Sometimes they even scared me. If I didn't want to marry, they would do something bad to me.
The culture here is that once a man gives you money and you agree to it and accept it, it means you are willing to marry him. But if you don't like the man, you double that amount. If it's 100, you double it and give him back 200. Sometimes if the woman does not want the man, what the man does is give the money directly to the mother. If the parents have accepted the money, their child can no longer refuse.
I felt that I wasn't important to my parents because if I were important to them, they would respect my decision to continue my studies. It's just sad because for just 200, they will force me to marry a man I don't even like.
My mother got married at 10 years old and gave birth to me when she was 12 years old.
This is what happens in the mountains. Sometimes they force their children to marry because of money. That's why I asked my teacher for help.
We decided to really go up there to rescue that child, and we really saw the situation. When we went to the house, I really saw how her parents and relatives rejected her, how they threw away her clothes.
The family was so angry. They said, if you want her to go back to school and study, then she's yours. You have to take care of her from now on. And one of the teachers, Michelle, told me, I instantly offered to adopt her as my own daughter. And not just in a way that she could stay at my house, that I would prepare food for her and look after her, but she's actually going through the legal system to adopt her as her own child forever.
I told her, don't worry. If you have no parents to support you, I will be your parent here.
What Michelle told us is that she's not only now trying to adopt Rylan, but she's trying to adopt Rylan's siblings to protect them as well from being married off as children.
I want to indeed cut off our traditions in the mountains where women marry early. So now I am happy because Child Impact has a program for women like me.
While Rylan's story is very encouraging and super exciting to be a part of, there were 8 other children who didn't stand up for themselves and say, I want to continue my studies, I don't want to be married. And so there are many other children here who are in need of a safe place.
Okay, let's go to the next. And there's your card, drawing. No recording, please. Yeah, there's a section in here that's in a part of the world that if it's discovered, not only will it be shut down, but people will be killed. Okay, thank you so much.